This is my presentation on cross-cultural communication in global business. My name is Angel Balderas. Have you ever said something that made perfect sense to you, but the other person took it in a completely different way? Now, imagine that happening in a business deal worth millions of dollars. As someone who has studied communication and interacted with people from different cultural backgrounds, I've seen how small misunderstandings can cause big problems when people don't understand each other's communication norms. Today, I'm going to explain what cross-cultural communication is and why it matters in global business, and the strategies companies can use to communicate effectively across cultures. Cross-cultural communication is the process of understanding how people from different cultural backgrounds send and interpret messages. It includes language differences, values, social norms, and even nonverbal communications like eye contact or gestures. For example, in the US, direct eye contact shows confidence. In some Asian cultures, too much eye contact can be seen as disrespectful. These differences shape how people communicate at work. Researchers like Hofstede and Adler emphasize that global businesses requires understanding these cultural dimensions to avoid misinterpretation. Now that we understand what cross-cultural communication is, let's talk about why it is so important in the business world. First, it reduces misunderstandings. When companies work across nations or even diverse teams, messages can easily be misinterpreted. Clear communication avoids conflict and prevents mistakes. Second, it improves collaboration. Global teams today include employees from different countries working together online. Understanding each other's communication styles helps build trust and teamwork. Third, cross-cultural communication helps with negotiations and customer relations. Many deals fall apart simply because one side didn't understand the other expectations. Harvard Business Review notes that strong cross-cultural skills are one of the top abilities international companies look for in leaders. So how can businesses and all of us communicate better across cultures? First, learn the basic cultural norms of people you're working with. You don't have to know everything, but learning simple etiquette or greeting customs goes a long way. Second, use clear and simple language. Avoid slang or idioms that may not translate well. Third, be aware of nonverbal differences, gestures, personal space, and the tone voice vary widely between cultures. Fourth, use active listening and act clarifying questions like, can you explain what you meant by that? This prevents confusion before it turns into conflict. Finally, be willing to adapt your communication style. Flexibility is one of the most important skills in global business. So what does this mean for business today? All right. In conclusion, cross-cultural communication helps companies reduce misunderstandings, work better across borders, and build strong international relationships. It starts with understanding cultural differences and using strategies that help us communicate clearly. As business becomes more global every year, knowing how to communicate across cultures isn't just helpful, it's necessary. The more we understand each other, the more successful we can be in a global workplace. And then these are my sources right here. Um, Cultural Dimensions by Hofstede Insights, The Power of Global Communication, Harvard Business Review, Gallo Amy, How to Work Across Cultures, and then Cross-Cultural Communication, Mind Tools.